What is up, good people? What is up? Thank you so much for checking out this video. Really, really appreciate it. I was going through my, as I try to do a couple times a day, I was going through the comment section. So if I miss your comment, I try to heart it at least minimum, but it's not me being personal. I just want to kind of throw that out there. I just miss it somehow. Somehow I miss it. So anyway, so I want to jump in here and just talk for a real quick minute here. I'm about to run into the store, but I want to drop this and really try to talk about our love for each other as a community. Do we even like each other? Let me ask that question. Do we even like each other? I'm going to play a couple of videos. So let's pause right here and we'll check out these videos.
Look, I know we've had all kind of presidents and our situation hasn't changed. So that's why I said they're pretty much all the same when it comes to a president and dealing with our situation.
So I gotta ask this question. Because you're on this show with the cocktails with the queens, and there's a reason for that. It wasn't to have you defend or not defend Donald Trump. It was about, I care about what's in this contract with Black America for women, and it's not, we're not mentioned at all in the contract with Black America. And I want to know.
I mean, when you mention Black people, you mentioning Black women. So don't count yourself out.
No, that's not true. That's like administration say that when they
Black people is not Black women. Black women are not included in Black people.
No, it is. But that's like, that's like you saying. That's like when the president says minorities, then he's including Black people. But we all know that that's not the case. Black women have specific needs that are not also being met. And we also feel that there should be some things that are specific to us and our plight as well. And I understand that. I feel like as a Black man, you can leave. No, I feel like
I just offered y'all to write a section up for it. I just said I don't mind if you guys help us. If you guys help us write a section. No, I've been open to all kind of experts in putting this together. It wasn't just me. We dealt with experts in all fields of this contract with Black America. So we're willing to deal with experts in the section when it comes to women. So that's no problem.
Okay,
I'll help you write it. I'll help you write it.
Say you do get the money. How
Black men today are currently leaning 20% toward President Trump. That's 20% of the Black electorate. That is 20% of the famed Obama coalition, the very one that President Joe Biden and the Democrat Party cannot afford to lose. Now, I'm not about to chastise Black men. I'm not about to tell them to go along to get along. And I'm certainly not about to tell Black men in America to fall in line and vote like Black women. Because, yes, and now I have to say the quiet part out loud, Black men and Black women, we don't always have the same political interests. Now, listen, I wish that we did. I really do. But the reality is that we live in an American society that has always ranked financial, political, and social capital as the following: white men, Black men, white women. Now, those two can be debatable or interchanged. We'll get to that in a second. But always and consistently forever last is Black women.
So we saw the two videos. Now you saw the Ice Cube. This is what in the red pill spaces, particularly the Black manosphere, we call the Ice Cube effect. When President Trump was running for the first time for office, he tried to meet with a bunch of different people, and as you saw, he tried to put some work together to have this contract with Black America and how we're going to economically benefit from the new administration that was coming into office. And he got a lot of flack for that. And as you saw, right, these ladies were saying that, we have different interests. That was terrible. So Black men, a lot of times at that particular time, the spaces that I follow, said, we're done. We're done. A few years later, we get actually roughly the same time, we get Ebony K. Williams saying roughly the same thing. And this is admittedly a little bit of a stretch, but then we have a situation where we have the NABJ. This is fairly current, the National Association of Black Journalists, and there was a few different pundits that I saw. I'll put a couple of them up here. Even Roland Martin, I'm not going to screenshot him, but even Roland Martin said it was bad that you had all three women up here. The NABJ asked President Trump, who was now running for office again, to come up on the panel, to show up for an hour, give us an hour of your time, and they're going to ask a bunch of questions. It was all three women, three black women. National Association of Black Journalists. And then they had the nerve to ask him a question about diversity, equity, inclusion. Okay. So listen, we are so fractured as a community, and there's no one else who seems to be like this. I can remember Kevin Samuels asked a question about he was asking of a therapist of all people, right? Not some negative type of person, but a therapist. You know, do black women belong to black men? And he asked a question: do black women, do Asian women belong to Asian men? Do Indian women belong to Asian? Do white women come to black women? She's him, and she said yes. All these different groups. If I can find a clip, I'll clip it on here.
Brothers, we love you. Let me just tell you, Jessica had a beautiful smile.
No, we belong to Asian men.
Definitely.
Do Middle Eastern women act like they belong to Middle Eastern men?
Yes.
Do black women act like they belong to black men?
By and large, no. But
the fact that you had to even put a modifier on there says you are still conflicted with the reality you are seeing. There was no modifier ever before black people.
All these different groups agree, but that group, the black people, she's hemming and hawing. I want to say yes. I want to. Listen, man, we really, I wish I had the silver bullet. I wish I had the magic tongue. I wish I had I wish I had the ability to say, you know, something that would make us say, listen, man, we got to get together on this. We can't get together, right? The snap of the fingers, right? To get it together, man, because this is bad, man. This is bad. It's really bad. I was just thinking about this, in particular because I'm watching, as I said, Roland Martin, other individuals who said, how could you not have, you know, how could you not have a panel, a diverse panel of different ideas? Of course, they're all going to be black people, but you shouldn't, you know, a couple of women, one guy, or a couple of guys, one girl, or you know, somebody from the LGBT. You know, I don't understand how you don't. I don't understand how you don't I don't think like that. But then have a question about DEI. So we're not thinking about each other. You know, our marriage rates, our divorce rates, all show a fractured community, and without the foundational basis of strong families, man and woman coming together to make families, we are going to be, we are dooming ourselves as a community. You got brothers leaving the country, other brothers leaving, you know, leaving the dating scene altogether. I've heard as much as 60% of men no longer dating. Who knows what it is amongst women? You know, what are we doing? You know, number one, between men and women, and number two, between black people, right? We are the group that survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. We survived all this different stuff, right? And then we get to modern era, and we just seem to hate each other. And it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, the way that we talk to each other, the way we don't talk to each other, the way we, you know, sometimes I can sense the vitriol in my own comment section. And listen, you comment the way you want, and you know, speak whatever, but it's like, I didn't do anything to you. I don't even know you. Are you coming at me like that? So listen, I'm only trying to help. I want men to be better, the best version of themselves, and I want women to be the best version of themselves. And I want black people to come together. And this is, I didn't make this out to be a black channel or really to get on these types of topics, but we gotta analyze what we're doing. We gotta analyze what we're doing. And here's I don't know if anybody else doesn't pay attention, but Simone Biles, who is now the most decorated Olympian in history, congratulations to her. Her husband had her gold Olympic medal around his neck, wearing it, and people were going off about that. Who's going off about that? So we gotta really take a pause and ask ourselves, what fights should we be fighting? What's really important? What's really going on? What's really important? What's valuable? What matters? How come a black man and a black woman's political interests are not aligned? How come at that particular time it's 20%? I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but I know personally, and this is obviously no indicator of what's going on throughout the whole country, but I know a lot of black men who are voting for Trump. And this is not me. I am not stumping for Trump. I think everything that what people say about him, I think he's inarticulate. I think all that. I don't think he's dumb. I thought that the first time he ran. I don't think he's dumb. And the way he answered those NABJ questions, if you watch it, he is inarticulate. He cannot formulate good sentences, but I think that he knows what he's doing. And I think that a lot of people are going to look around and say, man, this second term, it'd be much better than the first time. Because the first time he didn't know what he's doing. Second time he knows what he's doing. So I know a lot of brothers who are like, I'm going to vote for this dude. I personally can never get over January 6th. And he's talking about pardoning these people. That was a question for that. He's talking about pardoning these people. I can't do it. That's not for me. But I'm not telling you who to vote for, and Kamala's got to earn mine as well. I mean, I've often voted third party, often, because I am disillusioned. But you do what you want. I don't want to turn this into a political thing. Yeah. So listen. I think that I've said this before, and here's where I want to end this off at. Number one, we got to stop the vitriol as we talk to each other. Now, you can't talk to a massive amount of people, right, and expect any small change. But I think that we got to do some small changes within our communities. And here's some small changes we can do. And I say this in particular towards the males. Towards the males. If you are a vast majority of my audience is now ladies. Okay, thank you. I want you to pay particular attention to the life of the men who are around you. And I'm talking about the males around you, not only the grown men, but the boys. What type of life are they living? It's estimated that 10% of black American boys can read. We're about to start school as I record this August. We're about to start school for the 2024 season. Is anybody reading to these boys? Did anybody make them read throughout the summer? Did anybody take them to summer camp? Did anyone buy them any type of computer games that are about reading? Did anyone buy them any books? Did anyone try to encourage them to read? And I'm not talking about audiobooks. I'm talking about actually reading. Did anyone do any of that? Does anyone plan? And I'm not talking about parents. I'm talking about aunts, godmothers, grandmothers, aunties, church members, right? What are you doing to help the boys? Because in 20 years, those boys will be married, should be marriage minded, and people have to prepare them. We have to prepare them. You have to let them play sports and get beat up and beat down and go through you have to let them go through the rigors. You cannot shelter these boys. You have to let them go through it. And you have to prepare them. And yes, you have to prepare them academically as well as socially. I've said that many, many times. You have to prepare them. So, Kwanzaa Kunjufu, I always hope I say his name right, wrote in the 1980s and gave many talks in the 1980s, which are still on YouTube, about making sure that we are invested in the life of these boys. And that is from the time that they are born, and that is the time that they graduate from high school or college. And sometimes you got to make sure that you are seeing this boy, making sure that you go to his parent-teachers conference. Now they have computer-aided stuff, right? So you can check. You know what it would do to a young boy's psychology, if everybody in the church, if all of his aunts and uncles were checking his schoolwork. Hey boy, and send him a text. Hey boy, I saw you got a C in this class. We don't do C's in this family. You know what that would mean if you was an aunt, a grandmother, an auntie, church member, godmother. You know what that would do? That's little small things we can do. Little small things that we can do as the school season is about to ramp up. Little small things we can do to make sure our boys are able to read and doing their homework. A little text message. Now they got you can write up a text message, copy it a bunch of times, and then set it to be released once a month. Did you do your homework today? How's your grades? You don't even gotta think about it. Just how's your grades for September? You getting along in school in October? And just write it, send it out, and then send it to them. I mean, as far as scheduling the text, I should say, scheduling the text. That would mean so. He would know that he's loved, he's appreciated, and people care. Of course, I want the parents to do that. I'm talking about the village, right? African proverb, it takes the village. That would mean so much. So we have to really try to fight back against this tide of not going in the same direction. We got to recognize that this is going on. We don't even recognize it. That's why I brought up the NABJ thing, right? The queens of soul, whatever they were, Fox Soul, they didn't realize what they said. I think that Ebony K. Williams did realize what she said. And I don't think that NABJ realized what they had done. We think we're doing this where we're so no one stepped back and said, why do we have three ladies on this panel? No one stepped back and said, okay, here are the questions, and who's going to tone police to make sure that we're doing this? Microphones should have been. This is the President of the United States. Remember, I'm making this much longer than I wanted to be. Remember when President Obama was the president, and all these different reporters were blasting him and cutting him off? I think it was Bill O'Reilly cut him off 72 times. I think that was the number, 72 times. Cut him off. This man is the President of the United States. Even white people, I can remember reading a bunch of posts. Even white people are like, listen, man, I don't agree. And one dude I remember specific, I don't agree with President Obama. I don't like any of his policies, but that was too much. This man is the President of the United States. You might not respect him, but you got to respect the office. Listen, man, I'm trying. I want us to be better, to be best version of ourselves, and we got to do the little small things, and we got to notice the small things along the way. So, all right. So I made this long enough. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions, and let's really try to work some things out. And you can only do what you can do in your little corner, right? So, much love and peace.